Why do you lack confidence? Why do you think you lack confidence? This is the question I'm going to be answering in this video. And I'm going to be explaining how there's only one way, only one real way to become confident. It's not lying to yourself in the mirror. It's not telling yourself some lie, trying to convince yourself that you are somebody that you're obviously not. And it comes down to really three main reasons. Three reasons I'm going to discuss in this video. I'm going to talk about these reasons and give you some details about them. Then I'm going to show you how to, or tell you how to reverse these reasons on their head to actually become confident, not try to manipulate yourself and pretend that you're confident, right? So three main reasons are, one, well, before I get into these three reasons, you're not just an unconfident person all around. That's like there's general confidence, you know, how you stand up straight and how you put your shoulders back and how you speak and all this stuff. And like, yeah, that's confidence, but that's not what I'm talking about in this video. Because the truth is, you can be confident. You may be confident in one area. You may be confident in one domain of life, but you may not be confident in other domains of your life. I have been super confident in the gym, confident in the way that I look, confident about my physical prowess, but unconfident when it comes to speaking on a stage or talking to a girl that I may be interested in. Like, you can be confident in one domain and unconfident in others. This is called situational confidence. You're not just an unconfident person. Even if you're a nerd and you want to talk about World of Warcraft or freaking some type of nerdy video game, playing video games all day, you can sound like a complete idiot talking about the gym, and you can be quiet and reserved and all nervous talking about friendships and doing cool things and experiences, or gym being having a six-pack. You can sound like a nerd and be super quiet and reserved and nervous in those situations. But somebody starts talking about some video game that you play all day, every day, you're gonna freaking light up. You're gonna sound like a genius, and you're not gonna have any issue being outspoken, you know, speaking your mind, because you have such a well understanding of that topic. So this is what I'm talking about in this video: how to gain confidence in really all domains, all areas, but also help you understand that you're not an unconfident person. Even if you think you're a naturally unconfident person, you're only unconfident in certain situations. So this video, I'm going to be talking about how to get confident overall, of course, you know, build general confidence, but also how to get confident in the domain that you're having, I guess, lacking in confidence in, right? So first things first, you don't keep the promises that you make to yourself. You tell yourself you're going to do things and you don't do it. You tell yourself that you're going to start this routine and you don't do it. You tell yourself you're going to start this business and you do it for a few weeks and you quit. You tell yourself that you're going to talk to the girl and you see her and you don't. You said you're going to lose the weight. You're going to quit eating the garbage food you're eating and you continue to stuff your face. You say you're going to quit the bad habits and you don't. So you've made promises. You've said you're going to do things and you've quit on yourself repeatedly. And I'm not going to go into that yet, but when you do this over a period of time, you force this, you create this bad relationship with yourself, right? So that's reason number one. And the second reason, which is, I think, really the most important, is that you're incompetent. You haven't practiced enough. You haven't trained enough. And confidence directly comes from competence, which means your ability to do something well. So if you're unconfident in some area, it's probably because you're just incompetent in that area. I've talked about the video games. You're confident that you know how to play video games very well, and that's why you're confident when it comes to video games. So you are not confident because you are unconfident because you are incompetent. That's reason two. Number three is that you're holding on to past failure. So this kind of relates to reason number one. You know, you have failed in the past. You have told yourself you're going to do things and you have not done them, right? And it's this weird loop that happens between reason number one and reason number three. You told yourself you're going to do things that you have quit on for in the past. You've made promises to yourself that you didn't keep. So the third reason that keeps you in this toxic loop is that you hold on to these past failures, these past promises you've broken to yourself. The truth is, these failures, these failed attempts at making a change aren't going anywhere. So you have to take something out of it. You have to reflect on the failures you've had and take something out of it. Reframe these past failures. So this is the three reasons. You don't keep the promises you make to yourself. You lie to yourself and you lie to others, which causes cognitive dissonance. 2, you're incompetent, so you need to practice, train more. And 3, you're holding on to past failure. So now I'm going to tell you the ways to reverse these 3 reasons, the ways to reverse these 3 things holding you back to becoming an overall more confident person. So number 1, you need to fix the reputation you have with yourself. So you do this by telling yourself the truth and telling others the truth. When you're constantly having to think about what you're going to say next, and this is more so in the speaking with others context, right? Or even speaking to a camera. If I were lying about something I was saying, I would really struggle to make this video. I wouldn't be able to record it because I would know I'm not telling the truth. So you have to stop telling lies. When you're always thinking about what you're going to say next, instead of it just flowing naturally, you're going to sound unconfident. Like I said, this is primarily in the context of speaking to people. So if you want to sound more confident and honestly be genuinely more confident, you have to start to fix the reputation you have with yourself. So telling yourself the truth. Don't look in the mirror and say that you're great and you're perfectly fine the way you are when you know you're not. You know you have problems that you need to fix. Stop lying to yourself. Stop telling yourself that you're giving your best effort when you know you're not trying as hard as you could be trying. Stop telling people that you're going to do things that you know you can't do or that you know isn't true. Stop making up lies that you're having to keep, that you're having to hold up to. Because that causes you to have different stories inside of your mind, and it's so much easier to just tell the truth about yourself and tell the truth when you're talking to others, because you don't have to keep up with all the different stories you've told people, right? This makes you slow down your thoughts. You want to be able to just flow naturally, not to think about the next thing you're going to say because it's a part of you. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about riding a bike. You don't have to think about putting one foot in the pedal, turning the handlebars and sitting on the seat properly. You just ride the dang bike. And that's how it should be when you're speaking. That's how it should be when you're talking to anybody. You shouldn't have to think about what you're saying because it's the truth. You don't have to think about the truth. You know what you're saying, right? So fix the reputation you have with yourself and with others. And one way to do this really good is by stacking wins, right? If you follow me on Instagram, you see that I'm always posting daily W's, and I only post the W's really in the gym. That's my bigger W. But small win starters, like as small as making your bed, cleaning your room. Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, who's had a profound influence on me throughout my life. And he talks about just having these small little wins. Cleaning your room, making your bed, washing the dishes, wiping off the counter. All these things seem small, but they're little things that you can actually do. If your big goal is to lose 100 pounds, but you don't have any reputation of winning before you try to do this big goal, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle staying consistent on the path because you don't have any proof, any evidence that you can actually stick to the things that you have said you're going to do in the past. So start small. Do the little things that may seem meaningful. These little things that don't really seem like they will directly contribute to the success of the ultimate goal. But by stacking these little wins, you improve the reputation you have with yourself. And the more small wins you stack, the more bigger wins you can take in the future because you have the confidence of completing something successfully in the past. This is how you fix the reputation you have with yourself. So start small. Start with the small wins, maybe the small wins that you are regarding as trivial, meaningless. Stack those small wins. And as you stack those small wins, then you'll have the confidence, have the ability, have the bravery to shoot for those bigger wins and have some proof behind you that you can do hard things and just slowly increase the difficulty over time. And 2 is pretty straightforward when it comes to fixing the incompetence issue. You simply haven't practiced enough or trained hard enough. Like, you're probably unconfident the way you look because you haven't worked out enough. You haven't put enough effort into your nutrition, into your fitness to become physically confident. Of course, you're not confident with your shirt off. You shouldn't be trying to fake and stand in the mirror and look at yourself and, I look great. Like, that's fake. You know you don't look great. You know you aren't happy the way you look. So stop trying to pretend you're somebody that you're not. The only way to fix this type of confidence is by simply putting in the work. If you are struggling, like on stage, say you're a public speaker, or even with these videos, and this is what I'm working on right now, honestly. And when it comes to public speaking, say you're trying to give this presentation, you're talking about, I don't know, how to cook this ancient recipe that's supposed to heal your lungs or triple your testosterone levels. You're thinking about this magical recipe that somebody told you. And If you don't know that recipe like the back of your hand, all the ingredients, all the way to all the directions for cooking it, if you don't know the ingredients, the steps like the back of your hand, you're gonna stumble over your words. You're gonna be pausing. You're gonna be nervous because you haven't practiced enough. You haven't made that presentation enough. You haven't shown anybody what you're talking about enough. You don't know enough about it. And if you haven't spoken to people, if you spent the last 10 years inside of your room, not talking to anybody, working on your laptop, being a video gamer, and you haven't went out and spoken to people in the real world, of course you're going to be unconfident when it comes to talking to strangers. Of course you're not going to be confident in how you look if you haven't put the work in to build a strong physique. You shouldn't be trying to fake this stuff. There's a lot of this hoorah talking about, I am confident, I am beautiful, I am proud of myself, I am outgoing, I am this, I am that, these affirmations. And this is what is killing you guys. You're trying to fake it. You can't fake this stuff. You got to do the thing, whatever it is, whether it's physical, whether it's a mindset shift, or whether it's making some type of presentation. Say you're not confident in fighting, or say you're not confident in, I don't know, sewing, right? You're not confident in that. You're not unconfident. You're just incompetent. You need to sew more. The more you do that stuff, the more confident you'll be that you can make that sweater. So don't just say that you're unconfident, right? Put in the work, put in the hours, become competent at that task, and then you will become confident, right? Competence leads to confidence, right? And honestly, side note, you're good at the things you enjoy doing, or you enjoy doing the things that you're good at, right? The video gamer loves talking about video games because he's good at video games. That's all he's good at. So of course he likes talking about that. But you talk about your health, talk about, having good times with people, having strong relationships, and doing fun, incredible experiences, they're going to freeze up because they don't do anything but play video games like a nerd all day, right? So the third part is to change the way you perceive your failures, right? I talked about the third reason is you're looking into, you're giving too much value to past, quote, failures. And what you have to change this to is that they were all attempts. All of your failures. This held me back for the longest time because I failed a lot of things. I've broken promises I've made to myself. I've said I was going to do things that I haven't done, that I've quit and I've gave up on in the past. And I used to hold on to these things so much. I used to hold on to them to the point where it would hurt my soul to even think about trying to do something big because I haven't had the proof behind me to back it up. And like I said, number 3, this one, the perception of your failures and the reputation you have with yourself go hand in hand. So the way you fix this is, like I said, understanding that they were all just attempts on changing something, on becoming the person you want to become. And you have to look at what you learned from that, because even though you may have not succeeded, it was all just an attempt. There's something that you did, something that happened that resulted in you giving up, or you quitting, or you being unsuccessful, whatever you were trying to pursue. So you have to think about, what was it? What did you learn? Why did you fail? And if you haven't taken the time to pull out some paper, pull out a notebook, and write down why you failed, what happened, why you lost motivation, why you lost your drive, then you didn't learn anything. So as long as you don't reflect on that stuff, yeah, it's a failure. But the minute you reflect on it, you write it down, you dissect that failure, figure out why you can't stick to something and why you can't stick to your word and why you're always unsuccessful. Maybe you're setting goals that are way outside of your reach for that current level of development in your life. Maybe that's why you're failing, right? You're trying to achieve a goal that's way beyond reach, that's way past your level of capability at this current moment. You haven't stacked enough small wins leading up to this bigger win, right? So look at all these failures you've had as learning experiences. Stop looking back and feeling bad about this stuff, because when you're trying to do something big and all you're thinking about is all the times you failed, you're going into this new journey with this negative mindset. And you're never going to get anywhere like that. You have to go into the next adventure with a positive mindset. And the positive mindset doesn't come from lying to yourself. We talked about this. It comes from stacking proof, right? So taking those failures, dissect them, figure out why you failed on them, and try to take something out of it. Try to take some positive nugget out of it. And I promise you, whether you believe it or not, there's something positive you can take out of every negative situation you've had, every failure you've had. You just have to find it. You just have to look for it. So at the end of the day, the only way you truly fail is if you die. That's the only way you fail. Like once you die and you no longer can make an attempt, you have failed. But as long as you're living, as long as you're breathing, if you're trying to run a marathon and you still have both of your legs, even if you failed the last 20,000 attempts, you still have two legs. You can still try one more time. Now, if you were to get in a car wreck and lose your legs, or maybe you die, then yeah, now you have failed because you're never going to do that, right? So then you fail. So as long as you're still alive, all of the quote unquote failures are just attempts. Thomas Edison, the person who created the light bulb, who created the light that's beaming down on, that's making this video possible, that's making the light going through the lens of this camera possible. Before he found the successful creation for the light bulb, he failed 1,000 times, literally 1,000 times before he made the light bulb work. And I promise you, on attempt 100 and then 200, he was like, okay, this sucks, I'm failing, right? And on 500, he was like, all right, I failed 500 times. But the only way he was able to keep moving forward is because every time he failed, outside looking in, I'm sure people were thinking he was insane for keep trying to do this stuff. But since every time he failed, he learned something from it. He made some slight iteration, some slight adjustment along all those failures. He was eventually able to get to the point where he could make the light bulb successful, make the light bulb actually turn on and work. But if he would have given up and refused to see the value or refused to learn something from all of those past failures, he would have never made the light bulb. So all the failures you had, you've changed something very slightly along the way. So you have to go back and dissect all that stuff and figure out what you changed or what you should change to get to the successful outcome that you're wanting, right? So at the end of the day, the main point I want to get through your head is not to not fall for the affirmations BS, right? Don't fall for the body positivity BS. Don't fall for the lies you hear people tell you to just be confident, be proud of yourself, and be happy and all this stuff. Like, and if you love yourself so much, you shouldn't be trying to manipulate yourself. So the very act of self-love, body positivity, and these affirmations is supposed to be for you to like love yourself. But if you're manipulating yourself and you're lying to yourself, how is that love? If you were to lie to your family members and manipulate your family members into believing something that's not true, would you still agree that you love them? Or would they feel loved if they found out you were manipulating them and lying to them? So you doing this to yourself is literally the worst thing you could possibly do to build your self-love. So you have to start being honest with yourself and stop the body positivity, the I am positive affirmations, and the lies you're telling to yourself if you actually want to become confident. You got to be truthful. Look yourself in the eyes and admit when you're wrong. Admit when you're lacking in some area of your life. You don't build confidence by shouting affirmations in the mirror. You build confidence by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are exactly who you say you are. So just build up so much proof, practice so much that whatever you're trying to do becomes boring. Be so truthful, so honest with yourself that what you're trying to do just becomes monotonous. It's easy. You don't have to think about it. That's how you become confident, whether it's in social situations, whether it's in building a physique, whether it's in speaking, no matter what it is. Do it so much that it becomes boring to you. And look at all the times you failed as opportunities for improvement. There's small iterations you've made along the way. Recognize those small little changes you've made. Look at those failures you've had and reframe them as opportunities where you improve, right? They're not failures until you die. Understand that, right? You've not failed anything. You've attempted several times and you haven't gotten the correct solution, the correct mixture of the chemicals, right? So stay on the path. Don't try to fake this confident stuff. You can become confident. You're not an unconfident person. You may be unconfident in certain domains. And the ways that you can fix this confidence is by doing the steps, taking the 3 reasons and reversing them the way I've told you to do in this video. But look, if you got something out of this video, I'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. If you dropped a comment and told me something about this video, give me some positive feedback or give me some negative feedback. Tell me you hated this video. Tell me something if you got something out of it or not. Tell me what you think I should improve on or what you think that you related to in one way or another. Tell me something. You guys don't talk to me enough in the comments. I know I only have like 118 subscribers, something like that, but I'm really big on trying to figure out who the authentic self is and helping people become the best version of themselves. And this is what I'm doing. My life's task is to become the best version of me and give that version to you. and help you become the best version of you. So anything you can think about, anything you'd like me to talk about, do some research on, let me know in the comments. But look, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you come back to the next video.